Hi everybody, it's me, Amy, here at St. Isidore Church. I'm here to continue our discussion of these ancient prayers that are being used here in our celebrations of live Mass on the weekends. Through this novel situation of worship here in 2020, we've actually discovered these ancient prayers and are bringing them back to our liturgies here at St. Isidore. I do need to correct an error in my original article, my Part 1 article that was on the website a couple of weeks ago. In that article, we talked about the singing of the Antiphons at Mass, and I incorrectly referred to the ordinaries of Mass as the propers. Now, let me just give you an explanation to correct that error. So, a little Liturgy 101 here for all of us. The Eucharistic liturgy, also known as Mass, has parts that are called the ordinaries of Mass, and they're prayer texts that are sung, preferred to be sung in the documents or recited, and these texts are always the same, no matter what celebration of Mass you attend. So from Sunday to Sunday, we say the Kyrie, the Gloria, the Creed, the Sanctus, and the Agnus Dei, and those prayers remain the same from Sunday to Sunday. The propers of Mass, unlike the ordinaries, are parts that change from week to week. So those prayers, the texts of those prayers change in harmony with the readings each week, according to the liturgical calendar for feasts and Sundays. Some of those parts are the introit or the entrance antiphon, the gradual, the Alleluia, the sequence when one is prescribed, and the offertory and the communion. So here at St. Isidore, if you've been here for live Mass, you've heard that we've been singing the entrance and communion antiphons instead of what normally we would sing a familiar song. And we actually have accepted this practice due to the guidelines that were issued by the Archdiocese of Detroit, encouraging us to minimize the singing in light of the current situations throughout the church. So we have discovered these ancient prayers and have actually been revitalized in the way that we sing, even though we are minimizing the singing here at St. Isidore. So if you've noticed that we've been singing these antiphons for the last few weeks, you might not know that when we select them, my music team partners, Claire, Matt, and I, actually sometimes write the musical settings for them as we are praying over these texts and looking for settings to sing on the weekends. I've personally really been struck by the beauty of these texts and the richness of the range of emotions that they express. Although most of these prayers were actually written over 1,000 years ago, they're taken from the Old Testament. They were written at a time and place when life was very different from what we know in 2020. Their expression is so relevant to what we are experiencing today. And I'm not only impressed with their relevance today, but I find that I'm amazed at how they resonate with my own spirit through the many situations, the novel circumstances that surround us right now. I actually feel like God has asked us to discover these ancient prayers so that we can also unite ourselves with the suffering and the challenges that our ancient brothers and sisters in the church had to endure as well. So let me sing one of these antiphons for you. This was written for the 14th Sunday of Ordinary Time, and I actually wrote this one. It is called Your Merciful Love, O Lord. And as we know, love never changes, and God's love never fails.
Your merciful love, O God, we have received in the midst of your temple. Your praise, O God, like your name, reaches the end of the earth. Your right hand is filled with saving justice. The princes of the peoples are assembled with the people of the God of Abraham. The
So sometimes our familiar prayers, like those that don't change, the propers the ordinaries that don't change week to week, like the Creed, we say those prayers or sing them over and over again in the same way, week after week. And sometimes that repetition allows them to become rote. And we're not really experiencing the fullness of the emotion inside of those prayers. But with these new texts, I feel like they're kind of like a new refreshing cocktail that I've never had before. And they invite me to sip in the full flavor of the expression of that particular prayer. So as we sing these ancient texts of our ancestors, we are uniting ourselves on this faith journey with so many of our brothers and sisters who have faced hardships throughout history. Everyone from the Israelites to the Pilgrims had challenges where maybe they even questioned that God was accompanying them, with them, and guiding them through their challenging times. And prayer at any time is our greatest means of connecting with God and in listening for the direction that He has planned for us through all of this. So the expression of these ancient prayers in our contemporary voices is a very relevant expression of our deepest longings, our joys, our fears, our sorrows, and our pleas, and a deeper unity that transcends any time and circumstance as we know it. So, the antiphons for me have been a sort of spiritual lemonade out of lemons, let's just say. Let's sing another one. This is actually a communion antiphon written by Matt Cush that we used last week. And if some of you followed my Facebook page, you saw that we had a baby nest of 3 robins that we kind of watched hatch and grow and fledge. And I looked at that nest this morning, and the nest is gone. But this antiphon that we sang last weekend reminds me that life is always being remade new. All things become new again in God's love. Here is "The Sparrow Has Found Herself a Home."
The sparrow has found herself a home, and the turtle dove a nest in which to lay her young at your altars, O Lord of hosts, my King and my God. Blessed are they who dwell in your house, they shall praise you forever and ever. One day within your courts is better than 1,000 elsewhere. The threshold of the house of God I prefer to the dwellings of the wicked. The sparrow has found herself a home, and the turtle dove a nest in which to lay her young at your altars, O Lord of hosts, my King and my God. Blessed are they who dwell in your house, they shall praise you forever and ever.
Isn't that beautiful? Very contemporary. So it's a marriage of contemporary musical style with ancient prayer text. So our Archdiocese has issued these guidelines asking us to minimize the singing of the assembly during Mass. One more tidbit of Liturgy 101 for you. For me, this is really antithetical. It's counter-liturgical. If any of you have attended any classes or workshops or sessions on liturgy, liturgy means the work of the people. And throughout all the workshops and events that I've attended since probably the 1980s, that's how old I am, I've been trained and reminded over and over again that as leaders and music ministers, we are to do everything in our power to encourage the full, active, conscious participation of all assembled at Eucharistic liturgy. So to in any way minimize the prayer of song for someone who prays through music, it becomes very difficult. We know we have to do it. So in doing something strange and novel that we've been asked to do, we have found these beautiful prayer texts that help us accomplish that purpose for everyone's health and safety, and yet have uncovered a wealth of prayer that we have not used here at St. Isidore yet. So let me play one more antiphon for you that no one has heard yet. This one is for this coming Sunday, the 16th Sunday of Ordinary Time. And it's a very apt text for these times, the title of which is, "See, I Have God for My Help."
See, I have God for my help. The Lord sustains my soul. I will sacrifice to you with a willing heart, and praise your name, O Lord, for it is good. Glory to the Father, the Son, and Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and will be forever. See, I have God for my help. The Lord sustains my soul. I will sacrifice to you with a willing heart, and praise your name, O Lord, for it is good.
So here we are in novel and challenging situations and circumstances. Liturgy is the work of the people. All of us assembled together, or even just watching from the comfort and safety of our homes, are in unity with our entire church throughout the world. We are in unity with the angels and saints and the Trinity in heaven. So although discouraging or even minimizing the singing feels so strange and antithetical to us in our corporate prayer, God is walking with us from wherever we worship. He is with us through this fast, this virtual fast of worship, and he is calling us to new and different ways to pray. So God bless you, and may you always remember that God is your help. And prayer is our best way to connect with him. And the best gift you can give to a friend is the gift of prayer. God bless you. Take care. Bye.